Welcome to Kangaroo Island, one of Australia's truly wild places. Surrounded by the Southern Ocean, it's the third largest island in Australia. With a small population of about 4,500 people, there's a great balance here between the people and the marine life and wildlife that also share this island paradise. Kangaroo Island is located in South Australia, 112 kilometres southwest of Adelaide, at the entrance of Gulf St Vincent. At its closest point to the mainland, it comes within 13 kilometres of Cape Jarvis. In 1802, British explorer Matthew Flinders named the land Kangaroo Island after landing near Kangaroo Head on the north coast of Dudley Peninsula. Now, Matthew Flinders climbed this sand dune in 1802 so he could get a good look at the entire area. And if you look at the view from up here, it's absolutely sensational. Kangaroo Island was separated from mainland Australia by a rise in sea level about 9,000 years ago. It is 150 kilometres long and up to 57 kilometres wide, with 540 kilometres of breathtaking coastline to explore. I joined Peter from Kangaroo Island Wilderness Tours, who has lived on Kangaroo Island all his life. Our first stop would show us some of the unique topography that is formed on Kangaroo Island. How did they get the name Remarkable Rocks?
Well, I think it was from a French explorer called Nicolas Bourdin. He sailed through here in about 1803 and named quite a few places along the south coast of Kangaroo Island. These rocks were formed something like 500 million years ago, and basically it was molten granite that came up through the Earth's crust and solidified 10 kilometres underground. And over 200 million years ago, the topsoil was eroded away and that exposed the granite. And since then, the elements have been sculpturing the stones on top that you see now.
500 million years ago, what kind of topography was this?
It was virtually a mountain range that came through here, virtually as high as the Himalayas.
Wow.
Over 10 kilometres high. And yeah, over time they've been eroded away and that's exposed this granite underneath.
Boom. I don't know how some of these rocks balance. Looks like a pig. But that's what makes this island stand out. The dramatic landscapes that have been carved out. And Peter had plenty more to show. Our next stop was another natural phenomenon, an arch that has been worn by wild weather. Part of the beauty about Kangaroo Island is its remoteness. Everywhere you go, you're surrounded by spectacular scenery and Mother Nature. We're at the Natural Arch, and straight off the boardwalk, you have New Zealand fur seals. There's one just here having a little nap. This is absolutely awesome. These seals were widely hunted from shortly after the European discovery of New Zealand until the late 19th century. Their populations fell to levels under 10% of their original numbers. Being isolated from the mainland has helped these colonies survive, and at least here, they are fully protected. It's pretty hard sometimes to determine the fur seals from the rocks because they look like big rocks and they're all sitting on top with waves crashing in and they're arguing, and there's a couple playing in a little rock pool. More than a quarter of Kangaroo Island is conserved in national parks, conservation parks, and 5 wilderness protection areas. Our next stop will take me to Lathami Conservation Park. This park is named for the subspecies of glossy black cockatoo, of which about 250 remain. This subspecies is found only on Kangaroo Island. We've come into Lathami Conservation Park, which is a great place to see some of the terrestrial wildlife that's on Kangaroo Island. Peter, what kind of species can we find in here?
Yeah, Lynn, up to 6 different species of animal. We get
Kangaroo Island kangaroos, Tamar wallabies, echidnas, glossy black cockatoo, koalas occasionally, and even goannas. So yeah, all within half an hour. It's a really good place to come to see all these animals in their natural environment.
Looks very nice, the bushland around here. Is this what the vegetation was like on Kangaroo Island?
It was part of a farm at one stage. There would have been sheep coming through here at a short period of time, but it's reverted back to how it would have been for the last 2,000-3,000 years. So it's completely natural.
So are these the Kangaroo Island kangaroos?
Yeah, Lynn, they are. They're a subspecies of the western grey kangaroo. 10,000 years ago, Kangaroo Island separated from the mainland, and with 10,000 years of evolution, these have changed. They're actually shorter than the western grey kangaroo now, brown in colour, thicker fur, and probably more stocky. And with that 10,000 years of evolution, they're classified as a Kangaroo Island kangaroo now.
So it's nice, they've got a good selection of habitat here.
They've got all the natural shelter they need that you can see. They've got grasslands, farming land they can eat grass from, and they've got water all over the island. And I'd actually say there are more kangaroos and wallabies here now than what there were 200 years ago when the island was first discovered.
And there's definitely more than there are people.
Absolutely.
We might try and find these elusive black cockatoos.
Yeah, we'll just come down here a bit and I'll show you a nesting box.
So this is the nesting box?
Yeah, it is, Lynn. The tree it's in is a sugar gum, and there's about 150 of these nesting boxes that have been put in sugar gums because naturally they would nest in a hollow in a sugar gum. Where a branch has fallen off, a hollow will form, but other animals are competing for these hollows, like possums, other bird species, and the tin around the tree has been put up to stop the possums climbing up because they will actually eat the egg or the young glossy black, and they only lay one egg a year. So it's pretty.
And each egg is vital for this species.
Absolutely vital.
I ventured further into glossy black habitat, listening for any cracking noises that may give the birds away. But instead, I found one of Australia's very unusual creatures.
So these guys are a monotreme, is that right, Pete?
Yeah, they are, Lynn, and platypus is also a monotreme, and they're both mammals. And they're the only mammal monotremes in the world, and we have them both here on Kangaroo Island. Now, monotreme, mono is one, treme is whole. They have one hole that they urinate, defecate and lay an egg through.
Oh, that would be difficult. This guy's gorgeous. He's a beautiful light brown colour.
He is actually. They actually vary in colour a bit. I saw one here the other day that was quite a golden colour, almost like it had a bit of an albino gene in it. But they do vary from being quite dark to quite light.
And is that a claw I can see just sticking up at the back here?
It is, Lynn, yep.
And he's dug his little nose in because he's probably a little bit nervous.
Yeah, he is. We're probably just a little bit too close, but we won't interfere with him anymore. But they pick up the vibrations of your footsteps and they go to ground, and that's their defence. They expose the spikes and then they're impenetrable, nothing can get at them. The spikes are actually hairs that have evolved into spikes.
Going for a little walk.
The echidna's trademark spines are their protection. I sat quietly with the echidna until it no longer felt threatened by my presence. The echidna started moving around to feed. I shadowed him as he cruised around logs, dug in the soft dirt, and used his snout, which is both a mouth and a nose, to get into those hard-to-access areas. Then he would use his strong claws to tear open the soft logs and his sticky tongue to collect the unsuspecting insects.
After being able to see our wonderful wildlife, the service doesn't stop there. It's 5-star all the way. Check out this little feed. Looks good, Peter. Cheers. To a fantastic trip. Thanks, Peter.
It was time to drag myself away from the beautiful scenery and see what lay below the island's surface.
So this is the Kelly Hill Caves.
This is the one, yeah.
And they're an underground cave system.
Yeah, there's about 2 kilometre square of cave heading out around here somewhere.
Wow, that's a lot of caves.
If not more.
And this is the entrance.
This is the entrance, yes.
Doesn't look like a cave.
No, not really. Basically.
These caves are pretty spectacular. How did they form?
Oh, this stuff, we're standing in about a 1.5 million year old sand dune. And then, so over time, as the water's running down through it, it's all cemented together. We're just left with these big lime ridges. From there, we had a lot of water run straight underneath the hill, takes all the rock out. It's fallen in to form these big dome-shaped caverns, and then the formation itself is all just a chemical reaction. The water from the top dissolving the calcium carbonate out of the limestone, brings it through into here and deposits it behind as all the little stalactites around on the roof and the stalagmites on the floor, or these big sheets of this flowstone through across the floor.
So how far do these caves go?
At this point we've mapped probably somewhere around maybe 80 different entrances getting into bits of cave, a couple of kilometres square out and around where we're standing, but they still think that there could be anywhere up to another maybe 5-7 kilometres of cave going off the ends of it in different directions out and around us.
And I guess this is a protected environment because there's no wind, no rain, or does water come through here?
It's a fairly well protected area. We do get a little bit of water. It's mainly what's running through at the base of the hill, eroding out the rock in the past that's formed the caves. The temperatures are constant, it's nice and humid and damp, and it's just every day is the same in the cave.
So we've got a lot of rock above us.
Yeah, from where we are here to the surface is about 8 metres of rock.
Wow.
Maybe ends up, I think the deepest is about 30 metres under the top so far that they're getting to.
It's a pretty impressive cave. It keeps going and going and going and going. So how long would it take these stalactites to form?
Depends on how much water's coming through and the other, the process, how much mineral it can find, mainly what the air inside of the cave's like. Some of it we can work out on an average probably over the last 30 years where it's maybe grown about 1 millimetre longer a year, just for some of the really fine little straws in the cave in places.
So it all takes time.
It's all happening slowly over time.
This is like a ballet shoe at the back here, and when you look at it from the side, it really does look like a ballerina pointing her toe.
After a full day of exploring the island, we were always happy to get home to our hosts at the Seascape Lodge. At the lodge, Mandy and Paul give you a very personalised service that you just can't beat.
Well, for entree tonight, I'm doing mini seafood pizzas using lovely South Australian prawns and some fresh herbs from the garden and some beautiful Kangaroo Island feta. We've got a sheep dairy here on the island that makes fabulous produce. The feta's gorgeous. The main course, another fantastic local produce, is King George whiting. This is caught in the bay out the front here, so in either Emu Bay or the Bay of Shoals, which is the next bay over. That's an absolutely beautiful fish with a very delicate flavour. I'm going to serve that with a brandy and cider sauce and also some fresh lemon thyme out of the garden.
Mandy is the hostess with the mostest. Her food is absolutely scrumptious, and she uses many local products sourced throughout the island. But don't forget to leave a little room for dessert. When you wake up at the lodge, the sunrise comes up over Emu Bay and welcomes you into the day.
The best thing, whenever you eat here, there's always something special from Kangaroo Island. And this morning, I have my organic honey, which is from the only purebred Ligurian honeybees left anywhere in the world. And I love my honey and my fresh fruit.
I fueled up on the local produce. For today I will go to a place that helps mark Kangaroo Island as a world-class wildlife destination. Today, having marine life on your shores can mean big business. Over 140,000 people visit this island, and they are not all here for the dramatic scenery.
We've just arrived at the Seal Bay Conservation Centre, and there's a couple of sea lions right near the front door. Take a look at this. The mother's just come up with a little pup. These sea lions can go wherever they want around here. It's their territory. and we have to stay away from them. So as long as I stay 10 metres away, she's got enough space. They do look like puppy dogs. They're the puppy dogs of the sea. They're so curious. They just want to know what's going on. I'm looking at her and she's looking at me. This was so exciting. I've heard heaps about this place and how you can see the sea lions. I'm just about to meet the ranger who's going to take me to the sea lions. So the famous Seal Bay. Wow, it's a beautiful coastline. How many seals have we got here? Oh, they're actually Australian sea lions.
They're Australian sea lions, yes. There are about 700 in this colony, so it's one of the largest colonies. It's the most accessible, or one of the most accessible. So it's a great place for people to come and view them in their natural environment in the wild. And as you can see on shore, they're basically resting and spending about 2 to 3 days here on average, just relaxing before they go out to sea again and forage.
So how many species of seals and sea lions have you got on Kangaroo Island?
There are 3 that, well, one is the Australian sea lion, the New Zealand fur seal, and we have Australian fur seals around Kangaroo Island as well. But these are the only ones that are endemic to this country. So the Australian sea lion you only find in Australia, nowhere else. And there's only about 12 to 14,000 left, so their overall numbers are quite low.
So with these guys, is it called a family pod or a group, or what do you call it?
Well, that group there's you have a mature male in the middle and a number of females around him. But they don't actually belong together. I mean, they're not a family, or they're just keeping warm together.
What's their daily program? Do they just hang out and sunbake on the beach, go and get something to eat?
On shore, they're doing this for 2 to 3 days, just resting, relaxing before they go out to sea again. And once they're at sea, they're very busy. So they're swimming day and night looking for food for about 2 to 3 days as well. You can see why they're so tired when they get back.
We're getting some good behaviour here. We've got a sub-adult, or is he a...
Yeah, he's nearly mature. He's developing the mane, and so he's probably, 9 years old, something like that, yeah.
And he's getting a bit frisky with the females. Now, he's not in breeding season at the moment, so it's more just showing his authority.
Being a bit of a problem for the female.
He's a typical boy.
When they're breeding, it's quite active. You'll have males that are quite aggressive and holding territory around females. Females will also give birth to pups here.
So how old is the pup when it's old enough to go and get its own food?
By the time they're about 8 to 9 months old, they should be starting to eat some food on their own. So they should have the skills to then catch a little bit of food, but they're still suckling from the mother when she returns from the fishing trip. So once the pup's 14 to 18 months old, then the female would wean the pup, and then she's getting ready to have the next pup. So she has to get rid of that one at that point, yeah.
So why do you think they choose this bay? What's so special about it?
They were on other beaches and in other locations around Kangaroo Island, but at one point they were hunted for their skin and for the fat around the body, and some populations were totally wiped out. There are a number of theories why this colony is still here. One is that there's a reef out in front of us. Potentially that could have stopped boats landing here. I don't think anyone really knows why, but luckily we still have 700 Australian sea lions that we can view here, and they're amazing, beautiful.
There are a couple of ways you can see these wonderful animals. You can cruise down the boardwalk that takes you out over the dunes, then down to a viewing platform near the beach. Or, if you want to get onto the beach, you must be escorted by a ranger. A guided walk also educates you about the Australian sea lions along the way.
This is pretty special to be getting this close to these Australian sea lions. It's good that they've got the conditions that you've got to stay 10 metres back, because it allows these guys to carry on with their natural behaviour. So we're probably seeing them as they would naturally be. I don't think there's too many places in the world that I can get this close to these amazing creatures. But do you think this guy's going fishing?
Probably, yeah. He's making his way down to the water, so I'd say he's heading out to go out and forage again.
Slowly but surely.
We've got a couple surfing again out there.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
I don't know what to photograph because it's happening everywhere. We've got a male swimming out, we've got a male sitting on the beach, and we've got 2 females playing in the waves. Oh, there's one, just look at this.
Then it was time to enjoy watching the sea lions at play. I thought I was okay at surfing, but these guys are aerial experts, and boy, can they cut back. Even Kelly Slater might learn a trick or two from these guys.
And I think the important thing to remember here is that whenever you come onto this beach, you've got to be on either a guided tour or with a ranger. And I think that's important so these animals are protected and people can't come down there and harass them. And if you allow that to happen, you get to have amazing experiences like this. Here he comes. Oh look, he's come to say hello. Hello. I'm not allowed to.
No, we can't talk. But just stay nice and still.
One of the most amazing things is when animals decide to interact with you.
There's not too many places in the world that you can get this close to the Australian sea lion. It's an absolute privilege because these guys are becoming endangered. And unless we protect them as much as we possibly can, we risk losing these beautiful sea lions. But the good news is, at least here, they're alive and they're thriving. And as long as we keep these bays and these coastal areas protected, then hopefully they'll have a place in our future.
Animals should share our world, but the sad truth is we are losing wildlife species every day. And this is causing our world to change. If we don't make room on our planet for wildlife and embrace the importance of diversity of life in maintaining a blue planet, then we risk losing our environment that is adapted to support all life, including us. Now there's so much to explore at Kangaroo Island, and I felt that we had just touched the surface. But it would take forever to show you all the stunning landscapes and moods of nature that can be experienced here on this wild and remote island, surrounded by the Southern Ocean. But as the sun set on our final day, I was rewarded with a gift from nature. A rainbow told me what I already knew. Mother Nature is truly our pot of gold. Our world is full of natural wonders, so remember to always tread lightly and leave a green footprint.